Hi, morning, folks. Welcome to this week's Friday Waffle. You'll be thinking, why are you saying good morning? Well, I'm actually recording this on Wednesday because I'm just about to head to London. Now, rather annoyingly, I recorded the Friday Waffle last night, which was Tuesday, and I think it was about 50 minutes, I think, in length in total. And then I was using this thing, my phone. And then when I went round to stop the recording, I noticed the screen had blacked out. And when I opened it up, it had recorded 8 minutes. So I was utterly pissed off. And I mean, it was quite late last night when I did it, and there was simply no way I was going to attempt to redo it last night. So you've probably seen the length of this video, guys. It is very, very short. It's not even a waffle. It's just really just a placeholder, basically, to say that there's not going to be a Friday waffle this week. Yeah, when you're watching this, I will hopefully be in London. I'm in London until Wednesday. So yeah, I hope you all had a decent week. I've been on holiday this week. I finished up from my job last Friday. It feels kind of weird being. I'm kind of in limbo. I'm jobless at the moment. I'm excited and nervous in equal measures, I think, to start this new job. But then I've been there quite a few times, and it's always going to be fine. It really will. I think it's normal to kind of feel like that. So yeah, I've not been doing an awful lot. Did a bit of housework yesterday. I think that's been about the highlight in my kind of week so far. So anyway, listen, just before I forget, I just want to put it out there. You've probably heard already that David Ward, one of the founders of Ocean Software, him and John Woods founded the company. I think it would be 1982, something like that. Don't quote me on that. Now, rather coincidentally, I had my chat with Gary Bracey last week, and one of the questions I asked Gary was, "How is David Ward?" And Gary did hint, or he didn't hint. He did say that he wasn't well, and I said, I hope he gets better. And he said, I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't know what has happened. I don't even know what age he is. I mean, he wasn't a spring chicken, but you know what? It's just another wee bit of our growing up chipped away. And it's funny when you think back to like the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, when we were all playing Space Invaders and Pac-Man and Atari 2600s and getting our first computers. We were on the cusp of something amazing. And it was like we were the minority because adults they weren't really interested. Unless you were a geek, you weren't interested in computer games. And to me, it was the most cutting edge thing ever. And now this hobby of ours, it's got to such an age where we're losing people who are instrumental in setting the industry up. And there's no more a person that applies to than David Ward. I mean, obviously the people in the last few years, let me think, we've lost Sir Clive Sinclair, Ben Dalglish, Steve Jobs, I was what you could say. I mean, you've still got to give that guy credit, even though he does seem like a bit of a cock. if you don't know what I mean, if you don't know why Gary Bracey will never own any Apple stuff, you need to go and watch the thing. Who else? Bob Wakelin, Fred Gray, and it's going to keep happening. It's absolutely going to keep happening because us in this hobby, we're not invulnerable, we're not immortal, despite the claims of a certain Highlander game. We are not immortal. We are all going to go the same way. We're all going to eventually go to that great arcade in the sky. Now, one of the questions I asked Gary, and again in the chat we had, was how did the Ocean name come about? And Gary wasn't able to answer that because I didn't realise that, but Gary joined the company kind of shortly after it started, so it had already been set up when he first started, and he found out, he was looking at some of the sort of the comments against Dave's passing, and one of them was from Dave's lawyer, and he basically said the company came about him, David Ward, I think the lawyer himself, David Ward and John Woods, they were in a plane. Don't know where they were going. They were flying across the Atlantic Ocean, and at that was the point where they decided, right, we're going to go for this company. And they thought, we need to come up with a name. And they originally said, let's let's call it Atlantic Software. And their lawyer said, no, you can't. That's already in use. There's a company that's going by that name. Let's go for Ocean. And that's it. That's it here, folks. You've heard that is why Ocean, how Ocean got their name, because we're flying across the Atlantic Ocean. So technically, if they'd been flying across Loch Lomond or Loch Ness, it could have been Loch Ness Software. So yeah, that'd have been quite a good one, because you could have had Nessie as the logo. But yeah, I know none of David's people are going to watch this, but a big thoughts are with David's family, and thank you, David, if you're listening to this upstairs somewhere. Thank you very much for making memories for not just myself, but probably all the people that are watching this. I dare say there's not a single 8-bit owner that never played one of your games. I mean, some of the games, the early games that stick out for me, Mr. Wimpy, even though it had that really infuriating first level. I don't think Donkey Kong did come out in the C64 in 1986, but I'm sure it came out in the Spectrum first, and then they re-released it later on, and they actually made a cracking version for the Amstrad. Apparently the Amstrad Donkey Kong is the finest arcade conversion on an 8-bit. Excuse me, I'm holding this laptop in my hand, that's what it's wobbling about. What else? Cavalon, Stunt Bike, Kong Strikes Back, Daley Thompson's Decathlon. That was the first game that I loaded that just blew me away. It had loading music, and you thought, wow, I've never seen that or never heard of that before. So yeah, thank you, David. That's kind of it. I've not really got anything else to say. I'll just have a quick look if I've got any questions. Right. Highlander is saying Queen were and still are my favourite band. I've been a fan of them since I was about 5 years old, and I'm now 38. Brookside had brilliant opening music. I used to watch El Dorado back in the day as well, and quite enjoyed it despite the criticism it received. Does anyone remember the BBC One TV series called The Bugs from the 1990? That was pretty entertaining, with it being based on computer hacking. I do remember it. I remember the name, but I never watched it. Like I said, I watched very, very little TV. LFC Gamer and Vlogs. Soaps have never been my thing, despite always watching with my parents growing up. However, Brookside was quite enjoyable. Anyway, here's my question. What food and drink cheers you up after a stressful day? Since I do buck the trend being Scottish and not drinking. I do drink. That's wrong to say I don't drink. I do drink, but I don't. I very, 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 very rarely ever drink in the house. I mean, I had a can of cider last week. But if I'm in the pub, and I've not been to a pub for quite a long time, I think since lockdown, we've all kind of forgotten what it's like to kind of go out. I would go to, if I'm going to a pub, I would have, I'd have a beer. I wouldn't drink cider. But what drink would I have to kind of de-stress? Probably going to be a cup of coffee. Yeah, I do drink tea. I never used to drink tea. My mum and dad never ever drunk tea. Don't know why. But when I started running, I discovered that a cup of tea is a really refreshing drink afterwards. So depending on what I'm doing, or if I'm eating something, if I'm eating a sandwich, I'll usually kind of have a cup of coffee. A cup of tea, just depends. Cup of tea, yeah, cup of tea. But no, it will not ordinarily be a cup of coffee. And food-wise, it's going to have to be something that I would grab quickly, and I'm ashamed to say, but it's going to be chocolate. What's my favourite chocolate? I don't know. Cadbury's whole nut, probably. So anyway, a dull answer, I'm afraid, but that's it. Let's see, Milfy Swinbuckle. Because my first question is a bit arse, I thought I'd put a second one in that I originally had for Dale and Avast in his vlog this week. It should cross over fairly well. Following the following pieces of media, what film, TV series, album, or computer game that you heard about in your childhood and up to the present day have you most been excited about when you heard it was coming out? And which of these lived up to surpass your expectations? And which turned out to be a damn squid? So what film, TV, game was I excited about? Film. The film that I was probably most excited about would have been probably the fourth kind of film of the Star Wars, which turned out to be, was it The Phantom Menace, which turned out to be utter shit. But being a big Star Wars fan, I was really excited about that coming out. I mean, we'd waited like 20 odd years for it. I remember getting I can't remember, what was the name of that? Not DivX. What was that real shitty quality video you could get on your computer? I managed to download it. But yeah, I was really excited about The Phantom Menace, and it was utter bollocks. TV series. Probably quite a new one. It's going to be Ozark. Now, the Breaking Bad is one of it's probably my most favourite TV series of all time. Ozark is a close second, and when lockdown came along, I'd watched the first three series, and then obviously we had lockdown, and we had to wait for like 2 years. So I was really, because it ended on a bit of a holy shit moment. So I was stupidly excited about seeing that, and it didn't disappoint. Music album. I don't think I've ever really been that much into. It's a kind of shameful admission. I've never really been that much into a group that I've been like really excited about a new album. I do remember when AC/DC announced Black Ice. I mean, I saw them in concert, but I got that album, and that was great. I mean, I'll probably get shot down in flames for saying this. See where I went with that one now. Yeah, I thought Black Ice was a fantastic album, and I was excited about that one. Yeah, I mean, there's been lots of albums that I love, but I can't say I've ever really been like, hanging on with anticipation, waiting on something coming out. Gaming wise, what game? I would probably say what game really I looked for. The 8-bit game. I've never had as much excitement in computer games as I did when it was 8-bit. As systems have got more newer, I've never had the same excitement. The game that I probably anticipated the most was Gauntlet. Don't know why, because I wasn't even a massive fan of it in the arcades, but I remember just following the screenshots in Zap. They would give you little teaser updates, and I always remember thinking it looked amazing. And yeah, to be fair, it turned out it turned out as well as it could possibly turn out. I was slightly underwhelmed, if I'm being honest with it. But then naturally down, what do you expect? It's an 8-bit machine. You're not going to get an arcade perfect game. And looking at Gauntlet now, I think they did a pretty good version, to be fair. So anyways, Milfy, thank you very much for that. Colin Jones is asking, what are your favourite chocolate products? Interesting. I was talking about chocolate earlier on. Chocolate-wise, this is Cadbury's whole nut. What else? Caramac. Love Caramacs. any other chocolate. I do like Galaxy chocolate. If I'm just going to eat plain chocolate, like with, I don't mean plain as in dark chocolate. If I'm going to eat just a bar of chocolate with no like bits in it, then it's going to be Galaxy. But I do like Cadbury's Whole Nut, and I also love Caramac. And Milfy's got another one there. Mr. Gary Lockhart, you can't consider giving up the waffle now you've extra viewers. You're talking my language. Madness specials, John Pertwee's Doctor Who. I did want Tom Baker's scarf though. I'll need to think of a few questions for the coming weeks. Keep waffling. Cheers, Gary. Yeah, I mean, the job that I was in, I worked in some schools, and a few of the lads did mention to me, not too soon after, before I left, that they actually watched my Friday Waffle. Hopefully they do enjoy it and not just can take the piss out of me. But yeah, big shout out once again to Gary, Owen, Billy, Paul, Mark. I think Mark watches it as well. Yeah, excellent. If you've got any questions, guys, please, and let me know how the job's going. Obviously, I can't forget Matt as well. Matt Renton. He's been watching my channel for probably about 6 months, Matt, I think. So yeah, good stuff, Gary. Get these questions in, buddy, and let me know how things are going. And the very last, oh, come on, I'm trying to do that, trying to hit the wee bit that says read more. Right, Milfy's saying here, the only question I could think of this week was the sort of question that only an utter complete twat would ask someone. This, of course, left me with a dilemma, as asking such a question would mean I was admitting to everyone watching that I was a complete and utter twat. Doesn't stop me making video content, Milfy. Question, if you yourself could watch your own channel now, but for some reason you didn't recognise yourself, and this other you had nothing to do with YouTube, what gaming question and non-gaming question would you ask your doppelganger, and what would your answer be to both questions? Bloody hell. That's a really good question. What would I listen, I've actually got to leave in about 10 minutes, and I've still got to get this uploaded, so I'm just going to all right, to be yeah, you didn't what gaming question. I'm just gonna do all right, okay, gaming question. What is your favorite video game ever? It could be an arcade game, it could be a home bit game. What would it be? And that, my friends, is a really, 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 really difficult. If it meant that I was only able to play this one game, if I could only play one game ever again, what would it be? It wouldn't be Galaxian. It wouldn't be Berserk. I don't think it wouldn't even be Robotron. You know what? I think it would have to be Super Pipeline 2. It's a game that it's easy that I can get fairly far in it. And it's a game that never, ever, ever stops putting a smile on my face. So yeah, it would be Super Pipeline 2 on the Commodore 64. There you go. And lastly, gaming question. Sorry, non-gaming question. If give me the reason, if there's one reason why I should have a YouTube channel, what should it be? Why should I do it? I would say the reason for wanting to do YouTube is it gives you an outlet for a hobby. It makes you get new friends 100%. I mean, I've made a lot of friends over the years with YouTube. If you're that way inclined, you can make money, but don't do it for that, because it's absolutely pennies. But I don't know. I just think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. it's given everybody the opportunity to have an outlet for doing something. That's a bit of a crap question. Nah, forget it. Forget it. Right, let's scrap that one. If you could have one person on your channel to do a blind mates only, who would it be, dead or alive? I think it would be Elvis Presley. Yeah, I don't mind admitting it. I'm a massive Elvis fan. I think he was the epitome of everything wonderful. Yeah, he did have a very, I mean, he crashed and burned towards the end. You know, he had quite a sad demise, but I mean, at the time, he had the most wonderful life. There's actually an Elvis film coming out. I think Tom Hanks plays Colonel Parker. Looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, Elvis just had the most amazing life, and I'd love to sit down with him and just ask him what was it like. I think that'd be amazing. So anyway, listen, guys. There's not going to, because I'm in London. There's not going to be a Sunday stream for obvious reasons. I have made a few videos, so there will be some content coming out to keep you lot going. There's not going to be a Watch with Main Meister this week. I will be back next week and hopefully get a Watch with Main Meister on Thursday, and then there'll be the normal Friday Waffle. So anyway, listen, guys, thanks as always for all the support. Keep the questions coming. Have a great weekend. And finally, as always, thank you very much for watching.